Hello, everybody. It's Graham Coath with another My Music. It's Friday, which is the best day of the week for a lot of people. If you're catching up with this on Spotify or something else, it might be any day of the week, but that doesn't really matter because to us, me and Ruby here, it's Friday. And we've got that Friday feeling, as they say. Did they ever have crunchies out there in the States? Crunchy bars?
Country bars. Yeah, we got some of those. Yeah.
Crunchy, yeah? With like Cadbury's crunchy bars with like the chocolate and the honeycomb in the middle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I have English relatives, so maybe I've just had it from them. I'm not sure.
There you go. Because for anyone that remembers years ago, Crunchy used to say, "I've got that Friday feeling." Well, we have got that Friday feeling today, and now we're going to play a little video from Analog Trash just to get us in the mood before we talk music. So Ruby, coming all the way from where?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. So good they called it Los Angeles. And how is it in Los Angeles today?
It's good. We've finally been getting a little break from the heat wave, so living large.
Oh right, we've been wanting the heat wave.
Oh, well, you can take it from us. We're good.
Yeah, please do send it to the UK. It's actually a very nice day today in the UK, but we've been having a lot of wet weather this summer, which is pretty miserable, really. Now, listen, you've got one of those rock stroke bluesy voices.
Thank you.
Where did you get it from? Whose fault is it?
Well, I definitely grew up listening to a lot of heavy hitting women in the classic rock, kind of like 80s era in particular, Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, Blondie, huge influences on me growing up. I love a live guitar. I love a real band in the room. It's just, when I hear the drum set, I get happy.
We are young. Yeah. So that was a little reminder for some people about Pat Benatar. Did you ever buy? Actually, that's an interesting one. Did you ever buy Pat Benatar's blues album?
I don't actually have that album. I don't physically own it. I have heard it on Spotify, but yeah, no, that's a good deep cut. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about that one.
No, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people remember her from like the incredibly polished kind of very tight, part electronic, part rock type sounds that, the Love Is a Battlefield type era, etc. Mm-hmm. But later on, she started to cut some she went kind of back into a bit like Gary Moore did, went back into like his blues kind of roots, etc. and explored that and really kind of brought out her voice. Growing up, you obviously sang, presumably.
Yes. I grew up in choir through school. I actually have a musical theater background, so that I think is also part of kind of the big voice. I was originally intending to be an actor, go to Broadway, that whole path. But I found a lot of creative freedom in music and having the agency to say what I want, have it be my own thoughts and feelings and not just a script. And just somewhere along the way, switched gears.
Quite a few people start off in musical theatre, etc. How far did you take that education-wise? Did you sort of go to theatre type school as well?
Yeah, I did. That's what I studied in college. I got my degree in theater arts. It wasn't actually. I actually moved to LA originally under the idea that I was going to be pursuing acting. I interned at a film studio, working in the script room. But the more I kind of learned about it, the less I realized it was quite the right fit. And I had happened to move down here with a bunch of musicians. And so it was just in my house all the time. And I was like, well, I've always sang. This has always been a part of my life. What if I just gave this a go?
Can you still use those acting skills for like social media and stuff like that?
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I
Okay.
think there's so much crossover between the arts. I mean, I never say never. There's always a chance to act again.
Okay. So I think we should give that a little test right now. Uh, I'm your boyfriend, but I've been out for the night. You didn't know where I was, and you suspect foul play. Okay. I'm just coming home. You're going to give it to me. All right. Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
just let's see how cool your acting is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm home.
Do you have any idea what time it is right now?
Yeah, and I know what time it is. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So that's just how we're gonna play. We're gonna fine. Go on and go on. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
I don't care. I just do what I like.
Obviously you don't. Obviously you don't.
Yeah.
Just leave me up worrying all night. I can't believe you.
You see, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Anyone wanting to cast Ruby? And we're putting a number at the bottom of the screen any minute now. There we go. That was so much fun. Oh, when you started going down the music route more seriously and sort of like going on that projectile, did you know what sort of music you wanted to make?
It was a bit of a learning process. The first time I put out music, I was really, really hands-on with the producer I was working with. And I was very lucky to work with Anthony Brodewer on my EP. He very much taught me the ropes of music. I think I went in there saying like, oh, there's a lot of like dark pop happening. That's cool right now. Let's do that. And through the process of recording, I think I kind of learned a lot more about what I naturally want to do, what suits me. There wasn't a lot of people making a ton of very popular rock music, not to say that there weren't rock bands, but it kind of fell out of vogue for a while. And I think I needed to give myself permission a little bit to go after that genre because I kind of taught myself like, oh, well, you got to do what's popular. It's like, well, is that what I actually want? Is that what's right for me? And I've been a lot happier now that I've fallen down the rock route.
Leaving behind those early influences in terms of your voice or whatever, what was the kind of music you were listening to that maybe sort of turned you on and went this is I want to kind of obviously do my own thing, but these are the kind of people that I want to be in their kind of strip sleeve.
Dorothy put out an album called 28 Days in the Valley, and it just really encapsulated that classic rock, like driving out on the highway out to nowhere kind of energy, just driving beats, beautiful harmonies. And I was just so inspired. It's like, oh my God, there's people making music like this still. I could make music like this still. So it was huge inspiration.
Dorothy. There we go. Everyone picks up, those little tidbits as we have these interviews. I'm going to write it down right now. I'm going to get a pen because I'll forget. You see, I'll forget. It's what happens when you get to my age. All right? Dorothy. Okay. Does anyone know Dorothy's Instagram?
I think it's just Dorothy, just at Dorothy, I believe.
It's just at Dorothy. Well, there we go. We're tagging Dorothy in later, in case obviously Dorothy wants to actually work with you in some form, which of course she will. That's brilliant. And did you struggle to find once you found what your voice was going to be, etc.? Did you struggle to find the right people to then work with in order to create that dream?
Yeah, I think I got really, really lucky. My main co-writer and also the rhythm guitarist in our band, Nick Geraci, he is actually my partner. So he's
that's been really lucky
from day one. See, very Pat Benatar. But yeah, he's been with me from day one, helping create the music from the very beginning. Finding the rest of the band, I feel that I've been so blessed with that. There's so many incredible musicians in LA, and I have found just the most amazing group of people who make me better every day. I mean, especially coming from not the most traditional music background, I feel so lucky that I have people who are very educated in music, have a technical knowledge that I don't possess. So, I bring the creativity and the concept, and then they really fill in the gaps and make it the music that I've always wanted it to be.
Yeah, watching your videos, etc. And there is there's links to videos on the Linktree, etc. Watching your videos, you strike me as someone that your main domain is live. Would I be right in that?
Oh, it's the live music that is the most beautiful experience, in my opinion. I love the way that when you're in a room with an audience, you get to share that moment and share your feelings with each other, and it's something that'll be different every time you go out. No matter if you do the exact same set list, it's always different with the people in the room, and I just
But you've
love.
got a live energy about you, haven't you? I mean, you feel like you're owning it. There's there's something about you. You want to be up in people's faces with your music, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself an introvert in my day-to-day life, but
Oh,
music is,
really?
I know, shocking, but music is the place where I really feel that I can, be my full self and connect. And so that gives me, I think, a little bit of strength and power that I don't always have in other places.
Yeah, I think all of us. Well, I say all of us, and there's some people that are shockingly outspoken all of the time. But yeah, I think a lot of us that do things that are perhaps a little bit seemingly more in your face from time to time actually are quite introverted the rest of the time as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to throw it all out on stage, you got to save something for yourself at home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've said it more than once on this show that, actually, if any of my school teachers, so they're probably all dead, but if any of my school teachers could see me now doing this on a day-to-day basis, and this is my job, they would be absolutely shocked, because my school reports all the way through school said, "Wish he'd speak up a bit more. He's overly quiet, doesn't really like to contribute in class," and but I think different people have different spaces that they feel comfortable in. I always struggled at school with. I didn't want to sort of take part in something because I might be wrong about something, and therefore I just wanted to listen. I think later on that kind of then helped, because when I started coming into this arena, I do listen, and not everybody that interviews people listens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that now, because you do get some people that are like talk, but they never listen back to what the other person is saying, and you just think, ultimately, I think a good interview, there's a listener in there as much as there is a talker, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think makes a good a good singer? What makes a good singer?
I think that there are a lot of ways to be a good singer. I mean, obviously, we think of someone like Bob Dylan, who breaks all of the conventional rules of a beautiful voice. But the people who always have the most impact, it's about authentic truth. You can style anything however you want. You can create any kind of aesthetic presence to sell an idea so far. But that if it's just design, if it's just the front, if there's nothing behind it, people can only connect so much. And so I always think that the best singers and the best artists as a whole are the ones who are able to be really vulnerable and put those things that are uncomfortable for them out there, because we're all humans, we all suffer, we all have joys and pains and struggles and everything. And I think that we go to art and consume these things because we want to have a shared feeling. We want to know that how we feel is not isolated and alone, but we're part of something bigger. So if you're the artist on stage, it's your responsibility to take that first step so that your audience is able to.
Yeah. You mentioned Bob Dylan, who's, certainly from a singing perspective, not the greatest singer in the world, but obviously as a poet is world class. Yeah, yeah. A genius. In terms of singers out there that are perhaps not necessarily people that you would deem to be great singers, who other than Bob Dylan, who kind of inspires you?
Lately I've been really, really into a band called Trophy Scars. Very, very small.
I'm writing it down again.
Yeah.
Trophy Scars, right?
Niche, hard rock, a little bit of progressive in there. Band from the East Coast. Do really interesting, highly theatrical concept albums. And I'm totally spacing on the lead singer's name, but he has a very Tom Waits kind of energy to his voice, that very gravelly.
And the earth died screaming.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah. Lovely.
I think that that's one of those voices where, when you can tell somebody's just doing it to do Tom Waits, I can't stand it. But but in Trophy
I'll
Star,
stop it now.
it's just like, oh, authentic truth. That's how you sound. That's who you are at the core.
Yeah,
That's the most you could do. And then it's just so beautiful.
Yeah. No, it really is. What inspires you to write?
Well, I have had a lot of kind of struggles dealing with my own sense of self, as I think many people do. And for a long time, I really kind of got held back by my own fear of failure. I think you kind of touched on that slightly with, not speaking up in school and such as that, and I think that a lot of us do, where we just don't feel like enough. And
Yeah.
I tried to use music as my happy place and my freedom to get more comfortable with failure and even just the possibility of success. I've oftentimes just stopped myself before I could even get started, but when I'm singing, it's always been like the time where my brain turns off and that analytical side of me gets quiet and I can just enjoy myself. And if that brings me peace, I want to be able to use that space to really dig into some of those issues and maybe hopefully give other people that space through listening to my music a chance to process that stuff along with me.
So you're processing those issues, and you're, in a way, you're going through a cathartic experience with those issues as well. But do you see yourself at some point, ever maybe, because you talk about the theatrical, or you like a band that's into that kind of theatrical element as well, etc. Do you ever see yourself like developing maybe for an album or something, developing a character, inhabiting that character and exploring a side of yourself which is completely beyond what even you could potentially think yourself as in your head? But, would you...
I love that idea. I definitely see that as a very real future. We have loose plans for a concept album down the line. But I do love theatrics. I love a big narrative. The album we're working on right now is a very post-apocalyptic, high concept, and kind of touching on a lot of these real world issues we're having, living in ongoing pandemic, global warming. The world seems to be falling apart, but also kind of the internal struggles of feeling like you're falling apart. And so to set that in the grandiose, post-nuclear wasteland, I do. I love theatrics, and we definitely are going to get very theatrical as time goes on.
So it's quite a dystopian feel to it, this thing that you're producing at the moment, but with a positive outcome.
Yes. I don't necessarily see it as dystopian.
Right.
Because I do believe that we have the capacity that in the wreckage, in all the terrible things, that there can be a day after that we can't get dredged down in all the things that are bad. We have to acknowledge them. We have to admit what's going on. A lot of people want to pretend it's not happening, and that's not an option anymore. We're rapidly running out of time to pretend, but we can get better. We can work through, and we can not just live in fear forever, but it is a choice.
I love albums like that. It's great. Did you ever listen to Radio Chaos by Roger Waters?
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine Billy in his wheelchair, and it's this disaster that's going to happen because of Billy. And then, all at the end, it's like the tide is turning and people are coming together. Love that. Yes. I think we need more of that. It would, because it takes you on a roller coaster of emotions, that sort of thing as well. You can dive into the depths of things going wrong, but like any great film, I hate those films, don't you? I don't know, maybe you love them, but I hate those films where you get to the end and it's like doesn't resolve. Some people love all of that.
We want a resolution. As humans, we want to have some sort of greater sense of understanding, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know whether it was particularly British or not, but when you've had a really awful week and you've saved up and you've found the time, you've managed to get a babysitter and you've managed to get out of the building and get to go with your wife to the movies for once, and you then go out and you have a nice meal and you have something to drink or whatever, and then you go to the cinema and then you watch a movie, and at the end doesn't resolve itself. It's like, come on, that's like my week. That didn't resolve itself, but I wanted this to resolve itself. So that's it. What's the because music, and I talk to a lot of the musicians that come on here about this. Music is not the be all and end all of making music these days. What's the hardest bit for you?
Well, I think that, as I've spent more time as an independent artist, and, we are fully self-funded. We do, we have no backing, no management. This is all us 100% of the way. And,
Spend your money. Right. Yeah. Sorry.
but, I think coming from theater, I'm very used to working on a lot of things, and it's having to pull all together as a team to make the project happen. But yeah, you don't really realize how much of music has nothing to do with music. The amount of time spent on spreadsheets and cold emails and just all of the business elements of it. So I just am very grateful for the live performances, because it's an opportunity to actually do the music, which is why we're here in the first place.
Yeah. You sit, you write, you have that creative process, and then you have to get people to know about what it is that you've spent all of that lovely time creating, and then that's so admin driven and so process driven, and then if you're fortunate, you get out there and you play gigs. Is there someone other than Dorothy that you'd love to do a live gig with at the moment? Is there someone that would be the perfect person to either support or have as a support?
Oh gosh. That's such a big question.
It's
I
about that big.
but I would love to do one of these openers for one of the more classic bands. I believe the Linda Lindas are currently opening up for Blondie, or just finished a tour with Blondie, and I
Wow.
think that'd be so amazing to get to be the tiny little guy who gets to open up for the great, and just get to kind of learn from that kind of
Okay.
what things can be.
So I'm going to write Blondie down as well. Okay. So
Oh gosh, yeah, working with
yeah.
Blondie would be the biggest of dreams.
Okay. So this happens because we make it happen, and
Of course.
right. So you're on stage with Debbie Harry and the rest of them, but beforehand, Debbie says, "Right, we're going to do one song together from the Blondie catalogue, right? Which one do you pick?"
Oh man. Maybe Call Me.
Call Me.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites on the radio growing up. Many
Yeah.
times singing that at the top of my lungs with my mom in like fourth grade. Something like that.
And I think you have to have like you have to bring old-fashioned telephones onto the stage with the wire and everything in order to do it. Yeah, it's got to be, you kind of like, you need to theatrically use like an old-fashioned telephone.
I love that.
Because that's the thing, right? Telephones these days are a bit too like innocuous. I mean, they're they just like slip in your pocket, you get them out, you can quickly. Old-fashioned telephones were a pain, full stop, right? Especially the ones where you used to have to dial and it would go back and the dial and they had those long wires. Anybody that's watching this that didn't live through that generation of telephones doesn't understand, right? It was actually a disaster waiting to happen on all accounts. Especially me, I'm dyslexic. I can't remember more than 3 digits at a time. So trying to remember from looking at it to dialing it, somebody's telephone number, and then the physical aspect, the cat would be come in, chased by the dog. You'd get wires cut, you trip over, you pull it out mid-conversation, that would be the end of it. Straight, honestly. Once upon a time, it was like acrobatics just to make a telephone call. So what's this, the rest of this year, lining up for Ruby Layne?
So the rest of this year, this fall, we will be putting out our first full band single. So in 2020, I did the Ruby Layne EP solo project that was kind of figuring out how to be an artist. Now we're Ruby Layne and the Wicked Divine. We have the whole project. We have the band together. And I'm so excited to get our first single out. And that's going to start a whole rollout for our album that'll come out sometime in 2024.
Oh, a whole album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in 2020, and that's the album that we talked about there. That's the yeah,
Being
fantastic.
post-apocalyptic.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that. And are you playing any gigs between now and that happening?
We are currently on a bit of a pause while we wrap up, our studio time, get all of our ducks in a row for the release. But we may be getting a couple things together. We're looking on planning a really big, fun single release party, looking to really connect with the community and make it about more than just us, but highlighting other artists in various different mediums, and just having a great opportunity for us to come together and celebrate art as a whole.
Or could we do a Christmas party? Would that be all right?
Yeah, come on down. We got plenty of room.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's your go-to Christmas song?
I do. So this is me being a choir kid. Carol of the Bells.
Oh yes.
Especially if you get what was it, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, who have the heavy one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you like your prog, if you like your kind of rock stroke prog, Marillion did a fantastic cover of that song a few years back. Yeah, cool. Check it out. Check it out, folks. Carol of the Bells, Steve Hogarth belting it out. All of the band doing the harmonies in the background. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody that's managed to put together Pink Floyd and Playboy in one pinboard.
What can I say? I contain multitudes.
What a fantastic mise en scène that is. Putting those two things together. I don't. Gilmour will be turning in his guitar case. At the thought of that. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you. You've got a wonderful voice. You're making great music. Thank you so much for what it is that you do. If people want to discover Ruby Layne's music and the band, of course, as well, where's the best place for them to go?
Right. So you can find our music on all the places that music exists. It's Ruby Layne right now. You can find us on Instagram with Ruby Layne. Twitter and TikTok is It's Ruby Layne. And send me a message. I'm real friendly. We can all chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it, folks. And if you've been watching this and you've enjoyed my chat with Ruby and you'd like to find out more, go and find out more and spend some money. Because as I say every single time on this program, music does not grow on trees. You think it does, but it doesn't. It actually requires people to spend time and money in order to make it. So you can help by spending a little bit of money, even if you just say, I'd like to buy you a virtual coffee. Remember, virtual coffees are £50 or $50. It's inflation. And if you have enjoyed this, then this has been my music, and please do subscribe to this and share it with your friends. If you haven't enjoyed this today, then this has been an instructional video on yeah, you know what's coming. This has been an instructional video on how to re-sew your teddy bear back together again and find a home for it in a charity shop somewhere. You can now do with this video what you like, as long as you share it again with your friends and family. Until next time, this has been My Music with me, Graham Coath, and our special guest today, Ruby Layne. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you so
for now.
much.